Tesla just lost half its Chinese market share. Model X sales are collapsing across Europe. The reason isn't another Elon tweet or production delay. It's a Chinese electric SUV that costs half the price, charges twice as fast, and delivers technology Tesla won't have for 3 more years. While Musk promises self-driving and European regulators scramble to block Chinese imports with tariffs, XPeng's G9 is already on sale in Amsterdam, doing exactly what the Model X does for 60,000 euros instead of 116,000. The disruption is here, and legacy players are genuinely terrified. The XPeng G9 isn't some budget knockoff trying to mimic Tesla. This is a purpose-built flagship engineered specifically to compete in European and global markets from day one. XPeng designed the G9 to meet 5-star safety standards under both Chinese and European crash test protocols, plus EU vehicle certification requirements. That makes it the first XPeng model ever conceived for foreign markets, rather than adapted after the fact. The company even ensured the G9 meets EU environmental protection rules with over 85% reusability and greater than 95% recyclability. These aren't afterthoughts. They're foundational design requirements proving XPeng takes European markets seriously. Size-wise, the G9 stretches nearly 4.9 meters long, just under 2 meters wide, and roughly 1.67 to 1.68 meters tall, depending on whether you spec air suspension. The wheelbase sits close to 3 meters, creating generous interior space for 5 adults plus cargo. That's proper family SUV territory. Slightly smaller than Model X, but roomier than Model Y. The exterior design is modern and clean without screaming EV stereotype. There's a filled-in front fascia since there's no engine to cool, flush door handles for aerodynamics, and a monobrow lighting treatment running across the nose with LiDAR sensors cleverly integrated into the headlight clusters. The lower sections hide more sensors behind distinctive lighting elements. It's recognizable without copying anyone, and the overall drag coefficient helps efficiency without sacrificing presence. Step inside and the G9 immediately signals premium intent. Nappa leather covers almost every surface you touch. The front seats feel like lounge chairs, deeply padded with virtually every adjustment imaginable, including heating, ventilation, and massage functions. They lack aggressive bolstering because XPeng tuned them for comfort over sporty driving, which makes sense given this vehicle's mission as a mile-munching cruiser. The air suspension lowers automatically when you approach, making entry easier, and soft-closed doors require just a light tug to seal shut. It's the kind of attention to detail you expect in vehicles costing twice as much. The dashboard is dominated by screens. XPeng's centralized electronic and electrical architecture powers everything through XSmart OS running on dual NVIDIA Drive Orin chips. Those chips deliver 508 trillion operations per second of processing power, more computing capability than most laptops. The system can be continuously upgraded via over-the-air updates, meaning the car improves over time rather than becoming obsolete. 3 main displays handle information: a driver's instrument cluster, a large central touchscreen for infotainment and vehicle controls, and options for additional passenger screens, depending on trim. Some models include a massive entertainment display for rear passengers. The interface is responsive and intuitive, though XPeng occasionally tries too hard to reinvent basics. The screen-controlled air vents are trickier to adjust than simple manual ducts, a solution looking for a problem. The audio system deserves special mention. XPeng equipped the G9 with what they call a 5D music cabin featuring up to 28 speakers strategically placed throughout the interior, including ceiling-mounted units and headrest speakers. The system creates genuinely immersive sound that transforms the cabin into a concert hall or home theater depending on content. Combined with excellent noise insulation keeping road, wind, and motor noise at bay, the G9 is deeply relaxing on long highway runs. You sink into those big seats, crank up high-quality audio, and let the kilometers disappear without stress. Cargo capacity sits at 660 liters with rear seats up, expanding dramatically when you fold the second row flat. That's more than Model X's 425 liters, a meaningful difference for families hauling gear. The flat load floor and wide opening make loading bulky items straightforward. XPeng clearly designed this vehicle for real-world family use rather than just looking good in photos. Now let's talk about what makes the G9 genuinely threaten Tesla's position. The powertrain comes in multiple configurations. Base models use a single motor driving the rear wheels, adequate for most buyers. The performance variant that directly challenges Model X adds a front motor for all-wheel drive. The setup combines a 175 kilowatt induction motor up front with a 230 kilowatt permanent magnet synchronous motor in the rear for total output around 405 kilowatts. That's roughly 543 horsepower and 717 newton-meters of torque. 0 to 100 km per hour happens in just 3.9 seconds, with top speed limited to 200 km per hour. Those are proper performance SUV numbers, competitive with anything not wearing a plaid badge. The Model X performance delivers more outright power with its dual motor setup producing around 670 horsepower for 0 to 100 in 3.8 seconds, barely quicker than the G9. The Model X Plaid with tri-motor configuration cranks out 1,020 horsepower, hitting 100 in an absurd 2.6 seconds, but that version cost over 130,000 euros in Europe. For most buyers, the G9's 3.9-second sprint provides more than enough thrust to merge confidently and embarrass conventional SUVs at stoplights. Daily driving doesn't require Plaid-level acceleration, and XPeng's powertrain delivers the performance that matters without the premium Tesla demands. Battery capacity sits at 98 kilowatt-hours using nickel-cobalt-manganese chemistry for energy density. WLTP range reaches up to 570 kilometers on the performance model, competitive with Model X. Long range at 576 kilometers. The G9 goes slightly less far per charge, but the difference is marginal in real-world use. Both vehicles will handle typical daily driving and IBAN weekend trips without requiring mid-journey charging stops. Range anxiety simply isn't a factor with either vehicle for normal use patterns. Where the G9 pulls decisively ahead is charging technology. XPeng built the G9 on their dedicated silicon carbide 800-volt platform specifically engineered for ultra-fast charging. The system supports DC fast charging up to 300 kilowatts peak power on compatible chargers. XPeng claims adding 200 kilometers of range takes just 5 minutes under ideal conditions. Real-world charging from 10 to 80% takes approximately 20 minutes on XPeng's X-Power superchargers. Compare that to Model X maxing out at 250 kilowatts on Tesla's supercharger VA3 network, requiring 28 to 30 minutes for the same 10 to 80% charge. The G9 charges faster, period. The caveat is charger availability. Tesla's supercharger network remains the gold standard with thousands of reliable high-power stations blanketing Europe and North America. XPeng is building out X-Power charging infrastructure but hasn't reached Tesla's density yet. In China, XPeng operates over 1,000 branded charging stations with access to another 200,000 third-party locations. European expansion is underway but still growing. For buyers in regions with robust third-party 800-volt charging, the G9's capability shines. In areas dependent on Tesla's network, Model X has the advantage of guaranteed charging access. The autonomous driving hardware tells another compelling story. XPeng equipped the G9 with their X-Pilot system designed for full-scenario autonomous driving in urban and highway environments. The sensor suite includes an 8-megapixel front-facing camera, multiple 2.9-megapixel cameras covering sides and rear views, plus LiDAR sensors embedded in the headlights. Those LiDAR units provide 3D depth perception and precise obstacle detection that cameras alone can't match, particularly for small moving objects like children, pets, and cyclists. Tesla famously abandoned LiDAR in favor of pure vision, betting that cameras plus neural networks can replicate human driving. XPeng takes the opposite approach, using every available sensor technology including LiDAR, cameras, millimeter wave radar, and ultrasonic sensors feeding into those dual NVIDIA Orin chips. The result is XPeng's XNGP system offering unlimited coverage autonomous driving across Chinese cities and highways. The technology tested successfully in Germany during 2024, and XPeng confirmed global rollout for 2025. Early European users report XNGP handles complex urban scenarios, including roundabouts, pedestrian crossings, and tight parking with confidence that matches or exceeds Tesla's full self-driving in similar conditions. The hardware is rated capable of level 4 autonomy once regulations permit, future-proofing the G9 as autonomous driving rules evolve. XPeng provides regular over-the-air software updates, improving the system over time at no additional subscription cost, unlike Tesla's FSD requiring ongoing payments. Safety equipment goes beyond sensors. The G9 earned 5-star ratings under both C-NCAP Chinese testing and European safety protocols. 7 airbags come standard, including side curtain airbags protecting all rows, electronic stability control, traction control, ABS with brake assist, and a comprehensive suite of active safety features, including automatic emergency braking with pedestrian and cyclist detection, provide multiple layers of crash prevention and mitigation. The strong safety performance isn't accidental. XPeng designed the G9 structure with high-strength steel in critical zones specifically to meet or exceed European crash standards. The suspension deserves attention because it dramatically affects daily driving experience. XPeng offers air suspension across the G9 range, allowing automatic ride height adjustment for easier entry and exit, plus adaptive damping that adjusts stiffness based on road conditions and driving mode. The system is mostly very comfortable, soaking up rough pavement and maintaining composure over highway expansion joints. It occasionally gets caught by sharp bumps that a Mercedes air suspension would glide over, showing XPeng still has tuning to perfect. But for a Chinese brand's first truly global SUV, the G9's ride quality is impressively refined. It handles neatly for a vehicle weighing nearly 2.5 tons, with plenty of grip at normal family driving speeds. The steering lacks the precision to encourage aggressive driving on twisty roads, but that's not the G9's mission. This is a relaxing cruiser engineered to eat miles comfortably, and it excels at that task. Now let's address the elephant in the showroom: price. The Xpeng G9 starts at approximately 60,100 euros in Europe for well-equipped versions. The Tesla Model X begins at 116,000 euros for the base model. That's nearly double the price for similar capability. A comparably equipped Model X easily exceeds 120,000 euros once you add features that come standard on the G9 like air suspension, premium audio, and advanced driver assistance. Xpeng undercuts Tesla by roughly 50% while delivering competitive range, faster charging, more advanced sensors, and a genuinely premium interior. That value proposition is impossible to ignore. The price gap explains why Tesla's Chinese market share collapsed from dominance to barely holding 5th place among new energy vehicles as of mid-2025. Chinese buyers can do math. Why pay double for a Tesla badge when Xpeng, NIO, Li Auto, and BYD offer equivalent or superior technology at half the cost? European buyers face the same calculation. Yes, Tesla has better brand recognition and more established service infrastructure, but is that worth 56,000 euros? For an increasing number of buyers, the answer is no. Xpeng's sales momentum tells the story. The company delivered 33,500 vehicles in May 2025, up 230% year-over-year. Monthly deliveries have exceeded 30,000 units for 8 consecutive months. While still smaller than Tesla's volume, Xpeng is growing explosively, while Tesla's sales stagnate or decline in key markets. Xpeng's stock surged 64% in the first half of 2025 as investors recognize the company's trajectory. The G9 specifically has become a volume driver in Europe, where it's now sold in Netherlands, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, and expanding to additional markets throughout 2025 and 2026. European regulators are panicking because they recognize the threat. The EU already imposed tariffs on Chinese EVs trying to protect domestic automakers, but the measures haven't stopped Chinese brands from gaining market share. Xpeng, BYD, NIO, and others are establishing local assembly operations to bypass tariffs while building brand presence through aggressive pricing and product quality that matches or beats European equivalents. Volkswagen literally licensed Xpeng's electronic architecture technology to use in their own future EVs, a stunning admission that Chinese engineering has surpassed German capability in electric and autonomous systems. That partnership generated 1.7 billion yuan in licensing revenue for Xpeng in the first half of 2025 alone. Volkswagen is paying Xpeng to teach them how to build competitive EVs. Let that sink in. The G9 isn't perfect. Build quality is decent, but doesn't quite match the feel-good touches in a BMW X5 or Mercedes GLE. Some interior plastics feel cheaper than premium German rivals. The learning curve for screen-based controls frustrates some users who prefer tactile buttons. Active cruise control can be overly aggressive, braking harder than necessary when approaching slower traffic. The air suspension needs further refinement to match the magic carpet ride of high-end European systems, and brand recognition remains a challenge. Xpeng doesn't carry the aspirational appeal of Tesla or the prestige of German luxury badges. For some buyers, that perception gap matters more than spec sheets. But here's the reality European automakers and Tesla are facing. Chinese brands are improving faster than established players can cut costs. The gap in quality, refinement, and brand appeal shrinks with every new model generation, while the price advantage remains massive. Xpeng develops new models in 20 months compared to 40 months for legacy automakers. That speed allows rapid iteration, incorporating customer feedback and new technology twice as fast as competitors. The G9 you buy in 2026 will be meaningfully better than the 2024 model through over-the-air updates and running production changes, a pace of improvement traditional automakers simply cannot match. Tesla's response has been price cuts, but there are limits to how far Musk can discount without destroying margins. European brands like Volkswagen, BMW, and Mercedes are scrambling to launch competitive EVs, but their products arrive late, cost more, and often deliver less technology than Chinese alternatives. The window for established players to respond is closing rapidly. In 5 years, Chinese EVs may dominate European sales the way Japanese and Korean brands took over in previous decades. The difference is this transition is happening in 5 years instead of 25. The Xpeng G9 represents that inflection point. This is where Chinese EVs stop being interesting alternatives for early adopters and become the rational choice for mainstream buyers. When you can get a well-built, fast-charging, feature-packed electric SUV with advanced autonomous driving for half the price of a Tesla, brand loyalty only goes so far. XPENG built the G9 specifically to crack European markets, and the strategy is working. Dealers are opening across the continent, service networks are expanding, buyers are increasingly willing to take a chance on an unfamiliar badge when the value proposition is this strong. Europe is panicking because the threat is real and accelerating. Chinese EVs aren't coming. They're already here. They're genuinely good, and they cost half as much as domestic alternatives. That's a combination legacy automakers have no answer for. Tesla built its empire on being the technology leader with the best charging network. Xpeng just matched the technology and beat Tesla on charging speed while undercutting on price by 50%. That's not a competitive challenge. That's an existential threat, and it's exactly why European regulators and Detroit executives are genuinely terrified of what comes next.